Children, let us repeat the points that we are going to cover under the lesson, the advent of the Europeans. Let's do it once again. Please read along with me. The first point is the Europeans who came to India. The second, the reasons for the coming of the Europeans. Point number 3, opening their trading centers in different parts of India and their struggle to establish themselves in India. Now these are the important points we will be discussing in this lesson, and let us take up one point after the other. Children, our country is Bharata Desha. We are all Bharatiyaru. In other words, if you call it India, we are Indians. We are Indians because we are born and brought up in India. We are the natives. We are the citizens of India. You are going to be a citizen of India. You will have the full rights as a citizen once you complete 18 years. It's also possible that somebody comes and settles in a country and takes up the citizenship. That is also possible. So we are in India and we are Indians. In the same way, the different countries in Europe, especially we are speaking about those who came to India. The people of Portugal are called the Portuguese. The people of Portugal are called Portuguese. The people from Netherlands, or the old name Holland, they are known as the Dutch. People from England are known as the English. Many a times we also substitute the word Britain and British. People from France are known as the French. Among the Western Europeans who came to India, these are the important ones. The Portuguese were the first to come to India. Their intention was not settling in India or ruling India. They came with the interest they wanted to trade. So also the others. The Portuguese were the first to come to India for trade. The Dutch followed them. Then came the English, and the French were the last of the Europeans to come to India. We have learnt about the different Europeans who came to India. Now let us understand the reasons for their coming. Necessity is the mother of invention. There is a saying like that. So the Europeans also had certain necessities for which they had to take up voyages of discovery. The reason for coming to India are many. Point number 1, there was a demand for the Indian goods like the spices, silk, brocade work on silver and gold, good variety of cotton, muslin in the European countries and other countries. Now children, what are spices? If you walk into the kitchen and ask for your mother, she will explain to you if you don't know. The cardamom, cinnamon, etc., which really gives taste to your pulao, the biryani, etc., they are the spices. then good variety of silk, then brocade work. Brocade work of silver and gold, they are the intricate, fine work of weaving and hand embroider, both put together. Then India is also noted for good cotton. Next only to the Egyptians, the Indians produced good cotton clothes. The Europeans were used to this. Then the second reason is Marco Polo, a Venetian merchant, had travelled to the eastern countries along with his father on a business trip. He had the habit of writing every day. He would write his diary and discuss about each and every country he visited, the culture part of it, the trade part of it, etc. In his travelogue, that is a diary, what you are writing about the places you travel, it's called a travelogue. In that, he made a special mention of India and other eastern countries, saying that they are very, very rich. So, the Western Europeans were interested in coming to India so that they can trade with the Indians. Next is the Ottoman Turks captured Constantinople in 1453. Now AD is after the death of Christ, that's how we were using it all these days, and BC would be before Christ. This was the conception, and this after the death of Christ was a wrong concept. It had to be changed. It is not after the death, it is the anadonymy, the year the Lord was born. In other words, the year Jesus Christ was born. To avoid this confusion, nowadays we use CE. CE is Common Era. I want you to look into the atlas after this lesson and locate the different countries, that is Portugal, France, Britain and Holland or Netherlands. Now let us come to the third point, the Ottoman Turks capturing Constantinople. How is it connected with our lesson? Indian goods went to the Western Europe in two different routes. One was the land route, another was land and sea route combined. The Indians sold their goods to the Arab merchants. The Arab merchants either they carried it through the land route or they would travel on the Arabian Sea, go to the land area and then move on and then go to the Eastern European countries, sell these goods to the Eastern Europeans. The Eastern Europeans carried it to the Western Europeans, that is to Britain, Portugal and other countries in the Western European parts. Now, the routes, both the land and sea route, both they had to meet at Constantinople. They had to cross Constantinople to go to the European countries. When the Ottoman Turks captured Constantinople and blocked this place, the trade route was completely blocked. Goods did not reach the European markets. They were so much used to the Indian spices and other goods from India. One desire was to come to India in a different route and get the goods for themselves. Another reason was Marco Polo had mentioned it is a rich country. India and Eastern countries are rich countries. So to trade with any rich country, the business is going to be lucrative. Lucrative means it's going to be profitable. So they thought this is a nice opportunity to discover a new route, come to India and other Eastern countries and make profit. Now we have to understand one more reason why they wanted to have direct trade. We just said it is lucrative, it's profitable. Just imagine you are going to a different place in India itself. Let us take for example, you went to Kashmir, you saw the beautiful scenery and other places. Then when you went for shopping, you were tempted to buy the jerkins because they were very cheap over there. What would cost you 2000 rupees in Bangalore are sold for 600 rupees in Kashmir. So you thought, why not I buy a few and carry for people around me too? Let us say you have bought 10 pieces, 600 into 10, you have paid 6000, you have brought these pieces to Bangalore. Your cousin comes from Mysore and you have not told him the price, luckily. He is tempted to take a few. Then you thought, I have spent so much on my travel, let me add some money and also add a little more and make my profit. So what you bought for 600, you sold it to him for 1000 rupees. Let's take for example, he buys 4 pieces from you. He goes back to Mysore. His neighbors are tempted to buy. Oh, it's only 1000 rupees. Here it costs 2000. I don't mind buying. That would be the attitude. So your cousin is also clever. He will add 500 more. He sells it for 1500. Now the neighbors buy because they are saving 500 rupees on a piece. After a few months, his neighbor goes to Kashmir and he realizes the cost of that jerkin is only 600 rupees. Now you calculate, children, every time the goods moved from one hand to another, from one person to another, from one merchant to another, what happened? The price went on increasing. But when that person from Mysore went to Kashmir directly, he understood buying the goods directly from the place where it is produced, it is going to be the cheapest. But if you bring it back to your own place and sell, you can make the maximum profit. Otherwise, the profit is distributed among all those people who are in the route of the trade. Our Indian merchants sold the goods to the Arab merchants. The Arab merchants added their profit. They sold it to the Eastern Europeans. The Eastern Europeans added their profit, sold it to the Western Europeans. So the Western Europeans thought, let us have a direct trade with India and profit more than what they can get. So in trading with India was lucrative and they looked forward to come to India and trade directly. Children, before we go to the next point for discussion, let's have a look at the map of Europe. Now, can you see where the cursor is? Yeah, the British came from this land, United Kingdom or Great Britain. If you cross the English Channel, you will come to France. Then let's move on to Portugal. Can you see Lisbon? That's a very important place of discussion in this lesson. Now, just move to the north of France. You can see Netherlands or the Holland. Now let's come to the place which was blocked by Ottoman Turks, Constantinople. The present name is Istanbul. Can you see this tiny place on the map? Now this was the link between Indian goods going on to the Eastern European countries and from there to the Western European countries. Istanbul is the present name of Constantinople. Istanbul. It is spelled as Istanbul and sometimes it is also spelled as Istambul. The sea around the European nations or the water body is shallow. The Europeans are seafaring by nature. They are used to it. The invention of mariner's compass. Mariner's compass is an instrument. You can turn it in any direction, but the needle will point to the north. This is very useful for the voyagers. With these, the Europeans ventured into unknown oceans to discover new sea routes to different parts of the world. Now let's take up the discovery of new sea route to India. Let's move to Portugal. Prince Henry was always adventurous by nature. He had a shipbuilding industry established in Lisbon, the capital, and he tried many varieties of shipbuilding. He encouraged his people to go around the world, and especially he wanted them to discover a new sea route to India. Bartholomew Dias made an expedition in 1497. He took up the route around Africa. He came to the southern part of Africa, the southern tip of Africa rather. But unfortunately, the weather conditions were very, very bad. He had to land up in the southern part, Cape, and he called it Cape of Storms. He was highly disappointed. Cape is a narrow piece of land jetting into the water body. So instead of moving further, he decided to go back to Lisbon, his mother country. But he did not stop there. He encouraged other Portuguese to take up the voyage. He himself was there to see that Savo Gabriel, the ship that the next voyager would take up, and gave suggestions so that this ship is going to be strong. This ship was taken up by Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese sailor, perhaps was very lucky, unlike his friend Bartholomew Dias. Anyway, he knew the route till Cape of Storms. Now, Things were better for Vasco da Gama. Prince Henry renamed it Cape of Storms as Cape of Good Hope. They wanted to venture further. Vasco da Gama was lucky enough. When he moved further, he came across some of the Indian merchants who guided him to go to India further. Vasco da Gama reached India on the 17th of May 1498. Children, let's have a look at this map. Look at Lisbon. From there, he followed the route till the Cape of Good Hope. From there, he moved along the eastern coast of Africa and landed at Calicut. Children, let us read this sentence. Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese sailor, discovered a new sea route to India on 17th May 1498. Now I want you to go through this sentence again and again. The reason is many times children say, my friend gets full marks, but I don't get full marks. Let's take for example the same question. Who discovered a new sea route to India when? If this carries only 1 mark, you can only use the word Vasco da Gama and complete a sentence. But when you look at the marks allotted, let's say 2 marks, then you must understand there must be a few more important points in the same sentence. Let us analyze this. Let's pose a question. Who discovered the new sea route to India? You will get an answer, Vasco da Gama. A Portuguese sailor says from which country he is. Well, what did he do? He discovered a sea route. Is it the same route which was there earlier? No, this is a different route. So we say it is a new sea route. To which country? To India. What's the date? 17th May 1498. Now you understand how many important points are there in this particular sentence. So whenever we answer, we must remember it should be a complete sentence and it should carry all the necessary words in the sentence. Please repeat this sentence. Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese sailor, discovered a new sea route to India on 17th May 1498 CE. Vasco da Gama was welcomed in Calicut by the ruler Zamorin. Zamorin made all the nice arrangements for the sailor, and from then onwards, trade contact between Portugal and India was established. Ships from Portugal reached India. Ships from India went to Portugal and the trade contact developed. Here is an interesting story that happened when Vasco da Gama came to India for the first time. His elder brother and other sailors were kidnapped. There was a team sent in search of them. The kidnappers had not asked for any ransom. Ransom is the money somebody asks when they have kidnapped someone so that they'll get the money to release the person. But that was not the case. Now, children, think, who would have done this work? Who would have kidnapped Vasco da Gama's elder brother and a few more sailors? Think for a minute. Children, think on these lines. The coming of the Portuguese would hit the business of somebody else. Any guesswork? Now let us recollect. The Arab merchants would get the goods from the Indians, sell them to the Eastern Europeans. Eastern Europeans would sell them to the Western Europeans. But now the Western Europeans have come directly to India. So the Arab merchants are going to lose their business. So they had kidnapped Vasco da Gama's brother and other sailors. Zamorin was kind enough to get his team work on that and get these people released. The trade relation between Portugal and India continued. The leader of the Portuguese in India was given the title governor. There were many governors. The first governor was Francisco de Almeida. Francisco de Almeida was the first governor of the Portuguese in India. Now children, you are coming across many new words. It's very important that you learn the spelling and the pronunciation properly. Among the many governors, the most important one was Alfonso de Albuquerque. Now look at the spelling. Albuquerque, the last Q-U-E is silent. You can say Alfonso de Albuquerque or just say Albuquerque. Both are accepted as far as the examination part is considered. Alfonso de Albuquerque was the most important because he achieved many things. Can you repeat the word Alfonso de Albuquerque? Now, let us understand why he is considered as the most important governor. Albuquerque was a daring person. He fought with the ruler of Bijapur. Bijapur is nowadays known as Vijayapura. He fought with him and he obtained Goa in 1510 CE. Alfonso de Albuquerque now made the Portuguese get a land in India. So Goa belonged to them from 1510 CE. The next thing is he wanted to make his army strong. He recruited Indians in his army. Do you think he recruited Indians because they were stronger than the Europeans? No. His idea was the Indians knew the whereabouts about India. Any hiding place that's to be searched, Indians would be of use to the Portuguese. Another thing with Albuquerque was he wanted to increase the Portuguese population in India. So he encouraged the Portuguese to marry Indians so that the Portuguese population in India will increase and their position in India would be better. The Portuguese extended their trading places or trading centers in different parts of India. Let's have a look at the map. Now, do you understand? They have taken places on the coastal area. That's because they would come by the sea route. After Goa, they established their trading centers at different parts. Please repeat after me. Diu, Daman, Basin, Salsette, Bombay, and near Bombay another small place by name Chaul. Then you have Goa when you come to the south. Then coming to the eastern side, it's not Madras where they had the trading centers, but in Madras in a very small place known as Santhome. Then when we move towards the east further, it is Hooghly. They opened their trading centers at all these places. The Portuguese established their trading centers at different parts of the country, but they could not retain them for a long time. In fact, they were the first of the Europeans to come to India. They came to India in 1498. They did not leave India in 1947. They stayed back in Goa. They were the last of the Europeans to leave India. And that too they did not leave on their own. They were forced by the Indian government to leave India. They left India in 1961. When the other Europeans started coming to India, it was in the 17th century, that is after 1600. From 1498 till 1600, they had undisturbed trade in India. No competitors, no other European to compete with them. They had undisturbed trade. But such an establishment, why did they lose their trading centers? Let's analyze. The Portuguese ships were strong, well made. They were able to put down piracy. The pirates are the sea robbers. They would trouble the Arab merchants and loot them. But the Portuguese ships had heavy guns mounted on the ships and with which they could put down piracy. But the Dutch and the English had stronger navy compared to the Portuguese. When the Dutch and the English came to India, they clashed with the Portuguese. And with their stronger navy, they put down the Portuguese, and the Portuguese had to lose many of their trading centers and be happy only with Diu, Daman and Goa. They lost all other trading centers. Now we can say that they stayed in India for such a long time. The Indians could have helped them. Why is it that the Indians did not help them? The Portuguese had unfair practice in trade, that is, they cheated the Indians in trade. So the Indians lost faith in them and they didn't want to help them. There was another reason why the Indians did not help them. The Portuguese governors, especially Albuquerque onwards, they were not friendly with the Indians. They were religious fanaticism came in their way. Fanaticism is something that one wants to do it very well at the cost of others. They don't mind troubling others for their own cause. So their religious faith in Christianity made them fight with the Indians, ask them to convert, force them to convert, and if they did not agree, they were ready to kill them. This is known as religious persecution. They would force them to convert themselves into Christianity. When the ships came for trade, The ships also came with the Christian missionaries who were very much interested in spreading Christianity all over the world. The Portuguese also destroyed the temples and mosques, the places of worship, and this was not tolerated by the Indians. Another reason for the decline of the trade of the Portuguese, that is, they had very good trade with the Vijayanagara Empire. With the fall of Vijayanagara Empire, their trade also declined. So the Portuguese had to be contented with only 3 trading centers and had to lose the others for Dutch and the English. Children, we have discussed about the coming of the Europeans and especially in detail about the Portuguese. Now in the next class we will take up about the other Western Europeans. Hope you will make a note of all the points that we have covered. It's there in the different slides. Write down the points and go through it several times. And especially the new words, learn the spelling. Let's move on to the exercise. I want you to watch and spell or pronounce after me. These are all new words to you. Please go through them again and again. Portuguese, Dutch, Constantinople, Ottoman Turks, Governor, Bartholomew Diaz. Now Bartholomew is also spelt as Meomew in different textbooks. You should not worry about it. Vasco da Gama, Marco Polo, Zamorin, Almeida, Albuquerque, fanaticism. Second main question, answer the following. Name the Europeans who came to India for trade. Who discovered the new sea route to India when? Name any five trading centers of the Portuguese. Third main question, fill in the blanks. The first Portuguese governor in India was Dash. Dash captured Goa from the ruler of Bijapur in Dash. Dash and Dash with stronger navy defeated the Portuguese. The Portuguese were the last of the Europeans to leave India in Dash. Children, answer all these. We will discuss in the next class. A PDF of the important points are sent to you. Make a note of it in your classwork. God bless you.